Hey, what's up, guys? Koolaid here. Welcome to another episode of Killing Time with Koolaid. I guess you could call it Killing Time with Koolaid 2.0 or Dirty Bomb Edition, whatever. If you're new to the channel, if you've never seen an episode of Killing Time with Koolaid, basically it's kind of a two-part video. The first part, I usually ramble on about something game-related, typically the game that you're going to be watching. And that's probably going to be Dirty Bomb for quite some time. And then the second part of the video is me answering your guys' questions that you have previously submitted. Now, that's not always going to be the case. Sometimes I don't have a lot of questions to answer, so I will basically just pick a topic that has to do with the game that you're watching, and I'll, talk about it. Or sometimes I'll have a lot of questions and I'll skip the whole me rambling and killing time, so to say, and just answer your guys' questions. So that's pretty much what it boils down to. Now, last week I did an episode of this, kind of an episode, just basically to tell you guys that I was bringing it back, and I made a small request, and that was that you sent STL Youngblood some private messages telling him to start playing Dirty Bomb with me, and he didn't get a lot of messages. However, he did make a video telling people to spam my inbox, and I got a good handful of messages back, all in good fun. But the reason I'm bringing this up is not because I want you guys to do anything else to STL or anything like that, but also because I didn't get a lot of questions for this week's episode. Actually, I only got 2, I think, in my inbox, and I got a couple more in the comment section when I specifically said try to send them through messages instead of comments. Now, it's not a big deal or anything like that, especially since I don't have the viewers for Dirty Bomb content that I had for PlanetSide 2 content, where it made it kind of a mess to sift through the comments. But that is the preferred way. Now, one other thing that I want to get to about this is not everybody knows actually how to send a message on YouTube. In fact, they're always changing their layout and stuff like that, and sometimes it's actually kind of difficult to figure it out. Once you know, it's really easy, but to actually get to that point, sometimes it's kind of a pain in the butt. So I'm going to tell you guys quickly how to send a private message on YouTube. So all you have to do is click on my name right below the title of the video. The Koolaid line, that's my name, that's the name of the channel. You click that, and then you click on the options where it says like home, videos, playlist, channels, blah blah. You just click about, and then towards the top right there'll be a thing that says send message. You click that, and it's as simple as that. It really is simple, but the path to get there isn't exactly clear. They don't really show you the way, or it's not like you would. That's not how you would think to send a message to somebody. It's a little more goofy. But anyways, that's how you send the PM. So if you have messages for me, whether it's questions for next week's episode of Killing Time with Koolaid or just something else that you want to talk to me about, that's how you send me a message. It's that simple. Now, for the next thing I want to talk about, I've been using Fraps for like forever, since I started recording gaming. Now, it's never been a problem. That's why I've never changed. Really nobody uses Fraps anymore. It's kind of like old school, I guess you could call it. Everybody typically uses Shadowplay or DX Story. But I've never had a problem with Fraps, so if it's not broken, don't fix it. Well, with Dirty Bomb, it really lowered my frame rate down to about 70-80 frames per second, where if I'm not running Fraps, I'm running at probably 170 to 200. And 70 to 80 is not bad. I can play at that perfectly fine. However, I started getting this hitching, and it would drop my frames instantly down to like 40 and then bounce back up, and then after a minute or so it would drop back down to 40, and it's basically unplayable. So I had to start using something else, and I started using Shadowplay, and Shadowplay for the most part has worked awesome. However, I've been having this big problem where like every hour or so, or it's not even like on a set time, it's just randomly I will get this huge memory spike where Shadowplay will actually start using like 95% of my memory, and has nothing to do with me not having enough memory. I have 16 gigs of RAM. but it just starts using a ton. I have to shut it down. Actually, half the time I can hardly even do anything on my PC because it's chugging that slowly all of a sudden. But once I get it shut down, everything runs normal again. I start Shadowplay back up, and it's fine for anywhere from a half hour, 2 hours, and then then it does it again, and I have to repeat the process. So I'm wondering if you guys, if any of you out there use Shadowplay, have any solution to this. I don't know if it's something wrong with my RAM. I'm not a computer tech savvy guy whatsoever. I don't even build my own PCs. I actually have a friend of mine do that. So if you guys have any ideas what this could be, it'd be a great help because it's getting pretty annoying. In fact, for the most part, it hasn't bothered me. But like the other day, I was having one of the best games I've ever had in Dirty Bomb. I started off like 20-0 with Skyhammer on Chapel, just tearing stuff up. I had like quadruple the points of anybody else, and then all of a sudden this happened. I basically had to shut down. I had to stop in the game, Alt-Tab, close Shadowplay. By the time I got back, I was dead, and it just wasn't cool. And I have a lot of that gameplay, but not all of it because of what happened. I couldn't record during that time. So if you guys have any solutions to this or any ideas, please let me know. It would be a great help. And I just realized I have not talked about what gameplay you're actually watching at all. I think you probably figured out this is all Proxy gameplay. Just a bunch of stuff I have left over that I've acquired since doing the All About Proxy. Nothing amazing, but just some like longer gameplay sessions that I don't typically use for the All About videos, where I'm trying to squeeze a bunch of different types of things in the one smaller video. So anyways, the last thing I want to talk about before I get to you guys' questions is World of Warships. I finally downloaded it the other night. I've only played like 5-6 matches. It's pretty much exactly what I expected it to be. It's War Thunder with ships, and it's very slow paced. So I don't know how much I'm going to be playing. I mean, I do enjoy it. I really do. I like World War II stuff. I actually really like World War II. I would love for like Battlefield to go back to World War II, something like that. But anyways, I'm just kind of curious to see or hear from you guys if you're playing World of Warships, if you would like to see any World of Warships content. Definitely not promising anything. I'm really focused on Dirty Bomb right now. And, I'm not going to dedicate a lot of time to World of Warships right now, but maybe in the near future. And this is a good time for you World of Warships players out there to let your opinions be heard. If you would like to actually see that content, post it in the comment section, of course. And if there's an overwhelming group of people that want to see World of Warships, I might make that happen. Especially since a lot of my my gaming community is playing World of Warships at the moment, which is going to push me in that direction just a little bit. But let me know if you guys are interested. So moving on to your guys' questions, we'll start with the first question from the name that I can only presume is pronounced Mikester. He wants to know, what did it feel like to switch from PlanetSide 2 to Dirty Bomb? Well, it's been a long time since I played PlanetSide 2, so I wouldn't really call it switching. But I guess that is the last first-person shooter that I've really spent much time with. So it is a pretty big transition because they're completely opposite games. PlanetSide 2 is huge, Dirty Bomb is much smaller, and it's lobby-based, whereas PlanetSide 2 is just a huge open world. And, how did I feel, I guess? I felt relieved, first of all, that I don't have to go out and look for fights anymore. That's the greatest thing about lobby shooters. You just jump in. If you want to play one game, you play one game, and it's over. And that works really well for somebody like me that's constantly, taking care of kids and stuff like that, and doesn't always have a lot of time to sit and play games. So I guess if you're asking me how I felt relieved. It feels good to play Dirty Bomb, I'll tell you that much. I'm really enjoying the game. Moving on to the next question, and this is from Lawrence Freeman. It's kind of a two-parter. He wants to know approximately how long you would say, or would you say, it takes to become average at playing the game, and is unlocking new mercs time-consuming / important for a good experience. So starting with the first part, how long does it take to become average? It just really depends on your skill. If you have prior experience playing games like this, like if you're TF2 vet or a Counter-Strike vet, you know, you'll probably jump right into this and not have much of a problem transitioning. If you're somebody like me that has never really played one of those games and you played more quote-unquote realistic style shooters, like PlanetSide 2 is pretty hard to call realistic, but you know, games like Battlefield, games that want to be realistic, it does take a little bit more time because you know, you're just not used to the longer time to kill, the speed that everybody's moving at, the fact that everybody's jumping around like they're on fire, you know, things like that. But it just comes all down to skill. I can't really put a time frame on it. Now, the second part of that question is unlocking new mercs time consuming. Yes, it is. Again, it depends on how good you are. If you're good in doing your missions really fast, you're obviously going to be earning more credits to buy those mercs faster. But as far as it being important for a good experience, I wouldn't necessarily say that. There is a free rotation every week, so you always have a changing mercs to play with. You always get to experience new mercs, and for the most part, the mercs are pretty well balanced. Now, some of them have, you know, different roles that they fill, so some mercs might not be as strong on certain maps as other mercs. But you have that rotation, you have that group of mercs to choose from. So I don't think you really even have to buy mercs at all. You really don't have to put much money into this game to be competitive. You really don't. That's like my honest opinion about it. So hope that helped answer your question. But moving on to some questions from Timothy Peterson. This is the last group of questions that I have. And fortunately, he was kind enough to list a whole bunch of questions. Said he's going to help me try to get the series resurrected, and I appreciate it. I'm actually not going to answer all of them. I will save some for next week just in case I don't get a lot of questions again. You know, what happened this week. But anyways, the couple that I'm going to answer, the first one is, what are your thoughts and impressions on the upcoming Star Wars Battlefront? Star Wars Battlefront is the next big game that I am extremely excited for, and I know a lot of people are just kind of down on it just because it's EA, and we all know what EA does to games. You know, they like making their money, but I don't care. I'm going to pre-order. I'm going to play the crap out of it. Unless it completely sucks, I can already tell you right now, I'm going to love it. It doesn't matter. They've already sold me. It's Star Wars meets Battlefield, two things that I love. I shouldn't say I love Battlefield. I don't play it anymore, but I used to love Battlefield. I do miss Battlefield from time to time. But when you add Star Wars into the equation, it's just got to be awesome, doesn't it? So as you can tell, I'm pretty excited about it, and I haven't watched a whole lot of stuff on it. I'll be honest with you. I've watched some of the latest gameplay, done a little bit of research on what vehicles are going to be in the game, how the squad system work, how you're not going to have a 4-person squad like Battlefield games. You're going to have a 2-person group, which is kind of weird. I won't really know how I feel about that until I actually experience it. But needless to say, very, very excited. And he wants to know, will you ever go back to PlanetSide 2? And the answer to that is, I have absolutely no idea. To be perfectly honest with you, I've almost reinstalled it a couple times the last couple weeks, mainly because, well, I'm always on Mumble chat with a couple of people that are playing PlanetSide 2, and it kind of makes me miss it a little bit. But the main reason why I always think about playing again is when I watch some cool montage. Like I just watched the Mucus Mad Max montage, which was pretty badass, and it makes me miss doing some of that crazy stuff that you can really only do in a game like PlanetSide 2. It's just so open, and the possibilities for fun stuff are pretty endless in that game. So I do kind of miss it from time to time, but again, I don't have it installed on my PC, and it's going to take a pretty big... it's going to take a lot for me to actually reinstall it. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say at some time in the future I'll probably play some PlanetSide 2 again. Have no idea when that will be. and it might only be for about an hour. I realize I don't want to play it and turn it off and uninstall it again. But if I do ever go back and play some PlanetSide 2, I'll definitely post up some footage for you guys, kind of a blast from the past. So anyways, that's all we have for today. Again, if you have questions that you want to submit, do it through the message system, please. It just works a little easier that way. Helps me keep track of it a little bit better. But anyways, guys, that's all I have. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll talk to y'all later.
Objective returned.